Hey guys, it's Miss Reed. Today is Friday, May 29th, and today we're on lesson 2 of Treasure Island. The chapter title is called The Sea Chest. Today, this is your objectives. This is your chapter 2 vocabulary. There's a lot today, and you're obviously going to have to do it on the on the Google form. So the first one is farthing. It's a coin worth less than a penny that was formerly used in Great Britain, England area. A gargoyle, you may have seen one of these before actually in a movie, is a stone carving of a strange figure used as decoration on a building, usually a cathedral or Gothic structure. Ensue means to follow right after another event, so something that happens right after something else. Impending means about to occur. I say like impending doom means like something doom and gloom is about to occur. Scarper means to flee or run away. Stun means to shock or amaze. Buccaneer is another word for a pirate. Also, sorry if you can hear my dog chewing her bone in the background. She's kind of being annoying. Bulk means most of something. I say like I did the bulk of the work means I did most of the work, or the larger part of something. A cache is a hiding, or you could say cache, different people say different ways, a hiding place for supplies or treasures. Hummock is a rounded hill or mound. Fathom I've heard fathom before in a different way, but fathom in this instance is a length about 6 feet used to measure water depth. So I say I went with fathom, like 2 fathoms down, like it would be like 12 feet. A cabin boy is someone hired to wait on the passengers and crew of a ship. Ransack means to search thoroughly. Causing damage means like you're like going through something like this, like crazy, to find something. And a schooner, I know there's an H there, but it's not pronounced. A schooner is a sailing ship with 2 or more masts. So that is the type of the boat that we're going to be talking about in this book as well. So you're going to read chapter 2 in your digital reader. The guy that reads it is kind of a cool voice. This is the audio. Make sure, though, that you're following along with it. It's pretty cool if you read the actual text yourself. Something new today, morphology, the root being bio. So whenever you see bio in a word, it means life. So you can have words with bio that are nouns, verbs, adjectives. Example is biology, which you've probably heard before. It's a subject that you'll study when you get into high school. It means the study of life. When we learn about biology, we learn about how plants and animals live. So anytime you see bio in any type of word, it means something. Oop, this is like something that pops up on my screen right there. It has something to do with life. Like biography is someone's life story written by somebody else. So these are some words that you'll see that have to do with the word bio. So you have biodegradable, means able to be broken down naturally. Autobiography is a history of a person's own life. It's when I write the story of my life, not somebody else. That's what autobiography means. Symbiotic means having a dependent relationship that usually has positive benefits to both involved. The example, this one really makes this much more easy to understand when you look at the example. So honeybees and flowers have a symbiotic relationship. The bees get pollen from flowers to feed their young, and the flowers get pollinated so more flowers will bloom. So like something that's symbiotic means both things, like kind of get something out of a relationship. And biosphere is the part of the world where life can be sustained. So Earth's biosphere includes the sky, the ocean, and the land, where any life can live on Earth, basically. All right, so you on your Google form, it'll say eventually you're going to do morphology, and you're going to do chapter vocabulary. But something new today, you are going to start writing your own adventure story. So pretty cool. These are key features of an adventure story. So typically the character or the characters in an adventure story are memorable heroes. They're not usually, the main character is not like a bad guy. There usually is a bad guy. Can you see that? Patty's like rolling around in the background. The setting in an adventure story is a faraway, often imagined place. A lot of times it doesn't really exist. But it could be far away from, like in this story, for example, like it's Spanish Main, right? But they're in England, so it's kind of far away. And it's a made-up place, like Treasure Island doesn't exist. The plot of an adventure story is fast-paced action, like there's usually a lot of action happening. Oh my Maddie's driving me crazy. There's dangerous elements. There's usually some kind of mystery or quest. A quest is like a mission, like the hero's going on a journey. He has to do something, like find things and whatnot throughout the story. And themes and adventure story, like the big idea of the story, like the whole story, is usually relating to characteristics demonstrated by the character. So like bravery, trustworthiness, loyalty, etc. Now, when in your adventure story, you should follow these guidelines, but like it doesn't have to necessarily be the exact same thing. So as long as it's got adventure in it, it's got this type of plot. Alright, so over the course of this unit, you'll be writing your own adventure story in pieces. So you're not going to be required to write the whole thing today. You're going to do different parts. Kind of like how we did when we were doing our science fair project, how we did it in different pieces. So remember, adventure stories usually involve a quest, mystery, or task that must be accomplished by a hero in a story. Today, however, you're only going to be focusing on your setting. You're just going to pick the setting of your adventure story. So before you choose your setting, think about what type of adventure you might want to write about so that your setting makes sense for the story. So if like I'm writing about like a hero that goes to the tropical island, like I'm not going to have the story set in like the North Pole, right? It doesn't make sense. So make sure like whatever you want to write about, your setting makes sense for you in your story. Remember, setting is where and when a story takes place. So adventure stories often describe this. Like, this is kind of interesting. Adventure stories often describe a particular setting, like an inn. That was in the first chapter, right? Like a hotel, kind of. But they rarely give a specific date or specific place. So they don't say, like, this happened on May 29th of the year 2020 at 11 a.m., right? They don't do that. They will typically just say, like, long ago, like in the 1700s, or like far, far away, like in the Spanish Main or something like that. It's not super descriptive. Example being in the story, right? Like the inn could be anywhere in England, and Treasure Island could be anywhere in the Atlantic Ocean. Like, we don't know exactly like what island it's located on. It could be Cuba, it could be Dominican Republic, it could be Jamaica. Like, we don't know. But like, it's kind of like it could happen anywhere almost. So you can choose to set your story anywhere as long as it makes sense for your overall story. So like if my story is about somebody like traveling the Caribbean, like in a ship, like I'm not going to be like, my setting is in the North Pole, because your story doesn't take place in the North Pole. So think about where you want your story to actually take place. You could go back and change it eventually. You'll just have to like email me and ask me, because just so like I can figure out what you're doing. So on the Google Doc today, this is what you're going to do. You are going to click on Adventure Story Setting. You're literally just writing your setting in the box. Like, I know it's like, first of all, it's like 400 font size, so don't do it so big. But let's say I want it to be the North Pole, right? Like, I don't know why, but that's what I want it to be, the North Pole. You're just going to write it in there. Also, I'm going to change that font because that's ridiculous. Okay. And you're going to submit it to me. All you're doing is writing a setting. You're not writing a whole story. You're just writing like where it's taking place. Remember, like, if you having a hard time, you want to change it eventually, you can. So today, in order to complete your work, make sure that you are completing this Google Doc with your setting. All you're writing is your setting. You're not writing a whole story. It's like taking you the minimum effort to do. And then you are going to do your Google form. It has chapter vocabulary and morphology. Both need to be done in order to earn a raffle ticket. And both need to be done well. So remember, Google Doc, like, you need to do the Google Doc, because this is like a project we're doing over the course of this unit. If you send me a blank Google Doc, I'm going to send it back to you the first time. If you send it to me twice, I'm going to label it a 0, because that just indicates to me that you have no intention of doing it. If you go back and you fix it and you decide to do it, and do it to the best of your ability, of course you could change your grade. I'm not going to like stick you with a 0 if you're going to go back and try it. I don't care if you turn it in late. As long as you turn it in with your best work.